Hi, my name is Mackenzie Brow, and this is my cultural plunge. So, to give a little background on me, I'm 20 years old, I'm white, and I'm a female. I am a daughter and I'm a sister. So, this is me. This is my sister Maddie. She's a sophomore in high school. This is my mom Brenda, and this is my dad Mike, and this is my brother Mikey. He's a senior in high school now. This photo was taken right before my brother's state football championship, which is really cool. He made it to state his junior and senior year, and this was a photo from right before they got on the bus his senior year. I am from a Chicago suburb called Joliet, Illinois. It is just 45 minutes south of the city. This photo is a picture of me and my boyfriend. We're at a Chicago White Sox game, and I really like this photo because you can see the Chicago skyline in the background. I just think it's really cool. I am a practicing Catholic. I've been a Catholic my whole life. I grew up going to RE, so religious education. I've received all my sacraments. So when I was a baby, I was baptized. In around second grade, I had my first reconciliation and first communion. In eighth grade, I was confirmed, so I had my confirmation. And my confirmation sponsor was my grandma. And later on, when my sister was able or old enough to get confirmed, I was my sister's confirmation sponsor, which is really cool to me. But this is a photo of me and my two teammates on Ash Wednesday, which is a Catholic celebration that marks the beginning of the Lent holiday, so 40 days before Easter. And so we went to church and got ashes into a cross on our foreheads, and I'm all the way to the left. And lastly, I am a student athlete here at NKU. I play softball, as you can see from that photo, and my major is secondary ed and math. So I want to be a high school math teacher. I'll probably go back home to become a math teacher. So I told you a little bit about my religious affiliations, and when I was growing up, all I knew was Catholicism. All I was surrounded by were Catholics. I hadn't really experienced other religions. I'm not, I was never familiar with other religions before I got to college at Northern Kentucky. I've met people that are Jewish, Christian, Protestant, Methodist, Baptist, a lot of different religions. And I grew up going to private Catholic schools. So everyone around me was Catholic, and everyone in my family was Catholic. All my friends were Catholic. I just hadn't known any other religions. So it was really different when I got to college here at Northern Kentucky. So at NKU, we have this group called FCA. That stands for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Here I have a photo of the FCA house, which is where every Monday they have gatherings and Bible study, and it's open for prayer mostly every day, and you could just go there and hang out and study, or just, yeah, like you can go there and bring your Bibles and just have group Bible studies or team Bible studies and things like that. So my teammates, I would say over half of them are Christian. So they all attend these FCA meetings every Monday, and they love it, and they're always talking about it, and they always want to bring other girls in our team to experience this Bible study and group meeting every Monday. So I had never attended, but this semester, two of my teammates wanted to be baptized Christian. So they invited our whole team, and our whole team went. And this was like my first real encounter with how Christianity is presented and how it's displayed. And it was at this FCA house, and we all got to go in February. So here are photos from the baptism. That is my whole team. We're surrounding the tub full of water that my two teammates were dunked in. Those are my two teammates. You could probably tell because they're dripping with water. On the left is Campbell, on the right is Brooklyn. Brooklyn was born Catholic or baptized Catholic as a baby, so she got rebaptized as a Christian. And Campbell had not been baptized or associated with any religion before getting to college. So she wanted to declare that she was a Christian by getting baptized that day. There I am in the corner. So when I first got there, I was a little bit uncomfortable in the way that it was very new to me. Like, I wanted to go there and support my teammates, but I hadn't really known or, like, assumed what to expect because I have never attended a Christian function like this. So, because when you're Catholic and you get baptized, you're a baby. And it's in the church, whereas this is in a house in someone's basement. So it was just very different to me, which I'm gonna relate this back to our book because I don't know why I felt uncomfortable, but it was just it was different from my religion, so I was kind of like, oh, it's not my kind of thing, but everyone's religion is their belief and it's not weird. It's just different from the next person. Like in my head I'm like, oh, this is kind of weird, but that's only because I was never accustomed to it growing up. So I think it's weird where someone else thinks this is normal. Like, but it's not weird because it's their religion. That's what they do. That's how they that's how their religion works. So my first reaction was I was a little uncomfortable. I was nervous. It was because when you go to a Catholic mass or a Catholic baptism, you sit there in the pews and you listen to the priest talk. And it's mostly the priest talking in his whole gown and robe and setup. And he's blessing the baby, and no one else is saying anything. At this Christian baptism, these girls are obviously not babies. They're old enough to give their own testimony. So that's what they did. Before they were dunked in the water by someone who wasn't a priest, also, let me add. Her name is Caitlin. She runs the FCA program at NKU. She's really nice. She's awesome. So she dunked these girls. But before they were dunked, they gave their testimonies on why they wanted to do this today. So they said their journey through the faith and how they were led to the faith of Christianity. So that was also very different to me because when you're Catholic and you get baptized, you're a baby. So you don't have any say. You're just getting baptized. You're getting dunked in the water with no say. But another difference is the prayer. In a Catholic church, you sit there and you listen to the priest bless you and pray over you. Whereas when you're in the Christian setting, it's kind of like a group thing. Like I feel like everyone is involved in the prayer and it's not just one person, the priest praying over you guys. I feel like everyone's praying together. That's how I feel. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be like that, but maybe everyone feels differently. And another thing is, well, I kind of already mentioned this, but it's mostly the priest talking in Catholic settings. Like the priest blessing you, the priest praying over you, and you giving like a short response. In the Christian setting, there's a lot of talk back, like more responding and more talking back when you're in not the stands, but when you're there. I think it's just a lot more comfortable in the Christian setting, and the Catholic setting is very like solemn, and you go there and you listen and you take in the words and you leave. So after the plunge, I reflected. After the baptism, I reflected. I realized that there are things outside of my own religion. There are other religions and they celebrate things differently. Things I thought were weird that Christians do are just not, they're not weird. They're just different. Different than how I would do things as a Catholic. As a teacher in my profession, I think it's very important to remember that. Like, not all of my students are going to be Catholic. Not all my students are going to be white. Not all my students are going to be female. Like, they're not all going to relate to me. and they're not all going to have the same experience as I did. They're not all going to go to a private school. They're not all going to have that higher level education. They're not all going to have the same things I did. So I think it's very important to remember that each student has a different life outside of the classroom that you're teaching them in. And it's very important to give them grace in that way because you don't understand or know what's going on in that life. And that's exactly what I want to take into my profession as an educator and as someone who wants to make the class environment a safe space and somewhere that's comfortable for my students to learn and be able to show up every day too. Thank you.